Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
5 years ago, the Power of We Symposium was created to provide a platform for kids from all sectors where they could have a safe and comfortable environment in which to share both their joys and concerns. The Power of We Symposium is proud to have served over 250 kids throughout Romania when we took our mission global back in May of 2023. Now, 2 teams of amazing volunteers from both the U.S. and Romania embarked on an 8-day Legacy of Hope tour, bringing encouragement and hope to not only the kids of Romania, but also the adults who support them, and also to over 100 kids here in the U.S. who contributed handwritten letters of hope to our Romania mission of 2023. Now, this year, we are proud to provide this opportunity yet again in October, and we are super excited to up our game. New venue, 750 kids this time, and we want to see you there. We're looking forward to meeting you in person at this year's event, which promises, as always, incredible speakers, amazing content, and of course, some of the greatest kids on the planet. So, mark your calendars for October 24th, and we'll see you here in Chicagoland for the Power of We Symposium 2024. This year's theme is Always Together, Never Alone. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite or at powerofwesymposium.com. Hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Loren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started. One story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Wake up! I said wake up, get up. It's Friday, y'all. Ain't no sleeping in here. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How many is that? One, two, three, four. Good morning. And welcome to the Friday edition of Bathrobe Moments. I'm Goofy Dr. Loren. I'm feeling it today. I've got a great show for you. We have a guest in the house that I love. We've had this conversation, but there's something special about this one. You'll see. Hang out. Listen, how you been since yesterday when we were together? Should I give you a hint? No, I'm just going to get her in here. But first of all, I want to say, listen, you guys, I want to thank you in advance for all you've done to promote this show this week, every week, and for the last 7 straight years. And I couldn't do it without you, nor would I want to. Now, for those who have never been here, live or on the replay, that's the bell of purpose. It's here on purpose, and I ring it. You guessed it, on purpose. Why? Because it is a reminder. It's an opportunity to lean in and tune in, because when there's some truth out there, believe it or not, it actually does have a ring to it, just like the bell. So listen up so you don't miss it. There that is. And finally, before our guest comes in, my sidekick. She's my version of Ed McMahon. She's been here all 7. We're in our 8th year. Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. Welcome her, please. Hello. Delicious. So, anybody here ever known a narcissist? I have, but for a long time I didn't know who they were. I have a lot of coaching clients, primarily women, although men have been duped by a female narcissist. They do exist. I've even met a few children who are already showing narcissistic tendencies. That's true. My husband is a therapist, and he works with a lot of kids, and he says, yes, it's rampant. A lot of bullies. A lot of things. We're going to talk about that today. And the movie, you guys know I was in Atlanta 2 weekends ago. Still got to go back one more time to finish. I play a district attorney in that movie, Fatal Betrayal, and he's a narcissist. So I had to, I got to admit, though, it was really fun. Like, just not giving a shit. I mean it. I was like, am I really supposed to say these lines to her? And they were like, And it was fun, but it did not feel right, even in an acting role. So that's how deep in denial and all these other places and things that narcissists exist. They just don't have a freaking clue, right? You look at them like, did that really just come? Did you really just say that to her? That kind of stuff, you know. So our guest today, Miss Laura. Now, I think she's just Laura Richards, because I saw some stuff with 3 names, but that might be that off limits name. You know what that means, right? But we're going to talk about that. She's never been here, so I want you guys to put your hearts on the screen. That's our way of saying welcome. Let me see. Anything else? Just be nice. She's never been here before, and you're going to love her. You're going to love her. Here she comes. I hear her walking down the hall. Is she wearing stilettos? Did you get dressed up for us?
I did.
Oh, I thought I heard them clickety clack.
I would not be wearing stilettos for you. Even you, Lauren.
No, you don't like those?
My feet are too old and tired.
Oh, girl. We're never too anything. They may be so old, but they're not too old. Trust me. I bet you someone said, here's $1,000. Walk down that block.
Oh,
and
of course. Yes.
Like, Shoot, I'd squeeze my big old planter's feet in there if I had to for $1,000.
I will do it. I'm doing great. I love what you were saying about the movie that you had to play a narcissist. I love it.
It was I thought it was going to be easy. It was when I was just rehearsing with my husband or reading my lines out loud here. But when I actually was in the face of these women,
I know,
in playing these scenes, it was like I would say stuff and then I almost wanted to duck because I was like, I know she's going to hit me with something. I would.
But you're right. They don't care. And so if you're playing it like you don't give a shit, well, then you're ready.
Yes. Now, before we get started, because I have a couple clips as we move down through the interview today to kind of set the stage. The first thing I'm going to do is give you 60 seconds, like I always do, to just let you vibe with them. I'll get out of here and I'll come back after 60, and then we can officially get started. And we're going to start with a narcissist. And I got a cute little 1 minute thing. Wait till you see this. It's so funny. So you take it away, fill in between the lines. And did I even say anything?
No,
I did not.
You didn't say a word. You just threw me to the lion.
I just threw. Well, I'll tell you this. So then you can take leave you the juicy morsels. So Laura, who is on the screen, is an international podcaster, and she's an author who's dedicated to the empowering of women. And she does it by providing a platform where they can share their profound stories of darkness and resilience. She, through this acclaimed podcast, which is entitled That's Where I'm At, Laura unveils her personal journey of recovery from are you ready? 32-year marriage to a narcissist. So that's why I got all up in there. So Laura, I'm just going to leave the rest. You come in, say hello, and I'll come back in about 60. All you.
Okay.
Take it away.
All right. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm Laura Richards, and I was married to a narcissist for 32 years. And I didn't even know what a narcissist was until a couple of years ago. And then let me tell you, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I'm sure that you have some toxic people in your life that are probably exhibiting these behaviors. And it doesn't even have to be that they are diagnosed, because a diagnosed narcissist makes me laugh, because they're not going to go anywhere near a counselor to even get diagnosed with anything, And so I was with him for 32 years, and I spent a lot of my married life thinking I was a failure and that I wasn't doing things right. And I started to unravel lots of lies in the last few years, actually, as we were getting divorced and right before we were getting divorced. And as I was talking about my recovery with people feeling bamboozled, and I felt dumb for not realizing what was happening to me. But, we shoulda, coulda, woulda our life, right? That we just don't have to beat ourselves up for being in abuse and not realizing
it's not your fault.
It's not right. Exactly. Especially emotional and psychological abuse. Sometimes you don't even know what's happening.
Exactly. So, okay. Because I already know where I want to start with you, with the actual questions.
Yeah.
But this is so funny. This little thing I found, it's actually on TikTok. And it's entitled, If the Narcissist Was Actually Honest.
Okay.
This is what it might look or sound like. So
I was going to say it's Dr. Jimmy. I know him. Yes.
You do?
It's Jimmy. Yes. That video is actually pinned on my Instagram because it's perfect. So yes, take it away.
Here we go. Take a look, everybody.
Hey, it's great to meet you. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, you too. So I'm a narcissist. Yeah, but you seem so nice. Oh, I'm pretending. Really? Yeah, I figured out if I'm charming and funny and give you lots of attention and affection, then I can get you to fall in love with me. Why do you need me to fall in love with you? Oh, because then you're less likely to leave once I start lying and belittling and gaslighting you and chipping away at your self-worth in order to control and manipulate you. Huh. Yeah, it works especially well if you have a history of trauma where you tend to blame yourself even though you're the one being neglected. That sounds like abuse. Oh, it definitely is. Why would you do that? Oh, I'm deeply insecure. I can see that. Yeah, I have a massively fragile ego and a fear of rejection, so I've created a fantasy world in which I'm the center of the universe and everyone else is inferior. Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you for telling me all this up front before we formed a complicated trauma bond that would have caused me years of misery. Yeah, well, I just want people to know what they're getting into. I mean, you by chance don't struggle with a lack of boundaries and self-esteem issues, do you? I do, actually. Dang it. We probably would have made a great pair. Yeah, I bet. A good thing you showed me these red flags up front so I could protect myself. Well, if there's one thing I am, it's honest and transparent in the beginning.
It's funny there.
It
but
is.
It's not when it is here, meaning where you find yourself. Now, let's start there. I want to ask you a series of qualifying questions, if I may, starting with the person you said goodbye to after 32 years. How much of him was there at the beginning and you just didn't see it? You understand what I'm saying? Because some people think they turn into it, which they kind of do grow.
Yeah.
But
it's incremental, and that's the thing. And that's why it was 32 years. We were together 33. So it's incremental. And so the person that you actually fall in love with is not the person that you are actually going to be married to, and it starts abusing you, because that's going to be a different person. And so things started changing. And as I'm getting clarity and looking back, I actually can see things and say, oh gosh, that would have been a red flag to me now, but I didn't think about it. And, things like we rushed to the altar, that there's no reason to rush. And sometimes that's what they want to do. They want to lock you down before they have to start being the other person. You know what I mean? So they can only hold the mask on. And that's what a lot of, therapists and professionals call it, is them wearing a mask. And they can only hold the mask on for so long before they have to lock you down. And then that way the mask can start slipping off, or they can
makes sense. Now, let me ask you something. Who were you at the time? A lot of people that I've interviewed, women in particular, report that they were younger than their narcissistic partner when they met. And they were naive, and they was looking for things that, looking for love and all, right?
Yes, so, I do, and I say that. I do say that.
You do?
I do. I was young.
How did he spot you?
We were all friends in college. I was friends. There was a group of 4 of us. Had a boyfriend. He had a girlfriend. And then we had our, respective breakups. And so he saw me and was like, oh, we kind of saw each other and we're like, oh, you're interesting, and decided to start dating each other. But that's by design. See, that's a red flag, because that's by design. They kind of groom their next supply, their next victim. Yep. To be ready, so that, I didn't even give myself any time. I just I had left a 5-year relationship with my high school boyfriend. I didn't even give myself 1 minute to even grieve. I just jumped right in, because my ex-husband was right there waiting for me, to say, oh, what about us starting to date? And that's all by design. They can't be alone. So everything he's doing currently to his new wife, he did to me. And so it's not a surprise.
So let me ask you this. In retrospect, you know how the narcissists have a lane, and they have a title, they have a sticker that you can put on them. But the people that they dupe, they're marks, if you will.
Yeah.
Is there a name for that particular type? Like, oh, you're perfect for narcissistic bait, narcibate, Oh no, that sounds too much like another nasty word. I'm not going to say that one. So ADHD at work. But you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Are you able to recognize women who you can tell that, there goes one. Look at that. Look at the way she's walking. Look at her shoulders. Look at her body language.
Well, and it's mostly the personality. Unfortunately, it's the, lack of self-esteem, those kinds of things. But ironically, it's a woman that seems like they have it all together, or they kind of strong, maybe outgoing, things like that, because they need somebody to imitate, to mirror. And so it could be somebody who that looks like they have their life together and whatever, but they have some of that self-esteem issues. Like Jimmy was saying in the video, it's so true. It's that, do you have those self-esteem, maybe some past trauma in your life? When you start talking to them, because they're getting to know you, they can hear that. And then they're like, yeah, she'll be easy to manipulate. I don't know if they necessarily say that, but I think they realize it. And so it's a compliment in a way to get chosen by the narcissist, because I'm not the same person, but I've always been pretty strong and outgoing. and then they do kind of chip away at you until I was a shell of a person when I left.
I find it so amazing. And I never get tired of hearing the stories because each one is so different.
Yeah.
But here, I want to go here. Do you remember the actual day or night, that moment when something went down and you left? Usually they leave the room, or the other person leaves the room, and you're left alone, and you're sitting there like, I always picture the woman with her back against the door that she just slammed, like in the bathroom, going, what the fuck just happened?
Right.
What? When you realize, oh my God, this is really him.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
There wasn't a one particular moment, but they started coming fast when I started finding out about like gaslighting. And I said, oh, he's doing that to me. So gaslighting is really trying to discredit or make you crazy, your thoughts, what you remember, because they tell you, I didn't say that. I don't, you're remembering it wrong, things like that. And I just believed him for a long time. But when I started figuring out he was gaslighting me, it started coming, all the things started happening around me really fast. I was like, oh my gosh, he's doing this. Oh my gosh, I think he's a narcissist. And then I started to see it in even like our marriage counselor, which you're really not supposed to go to marriage counseling with a narcissist. Because there's an imbalance of power. And so what happened to us in our last marriage counseling was the marriage counselor said that he was very handsome. And what did I have to complain about? And so this was I was like, so now we're being gaslit by the therapist. And so they're just so charming that they will charm even professionals. And so when all that's
inappropriate though.
Oh God,
that
so
therapist
inappropriate.
Have said that. I'm married to a therapist.
Oh, so disgusting. It's so disgusting that they said that. And I just remember him just smirking and being like, yes, I am.
Did he hear it? Did he hear the therapist say that?
Yeah, he was sitting right next to me.
So then that makes it seem like he looks at you like,
yeah, he was smirking.
Now she's on my side.
Yes,
or
exactly.
I assumed. Ooh.
And so I journaled a lot. And so there were just a lot of one right after the other going, something's wrong. I think he's gaslighting me, all these things. And so once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I just started seeing more and more and more, to the point where I was like, I can't live like this anymore, because he was never going to change. I didn't know the full extent of this whole narcissism. And I feel like I have a PhD in it at this point, but I didn't know the full extent. And so now I do. And now I'm like, oh boy, all these things. But the thing is, they chip you down. They're like, that video was so accurate. That's why it's on my Instagram, because it's so accurate. Jimmy was, who did that video. He was actually the first video I saw that described a narcissist. And I said, oh my God, this is it.
Wow. Full circle moment for you seeing that here today.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm glad if it resonated with anyone out there, like Laura just described it did with her when she first saw it. Red flag. Okay. Don't leave that on the table. Take it with you. Now, what about this part? Because people always think that the person that's under the spell is the dodo.
Right.
Like you dunce, anybody could see that. And it's not. I hate when people like, how dumb can you be? That sort of thing. But I do want to ask, the part that always just boggles my mind is the close circle of friends and family of the victim. What kind of things were you hearing from them? Or were they on eggshells? Because I've been around couples where the guy is one and nobody wants to say, we give each other those looks like, oh shit, let's pretend we didn't hear him just say that. But then when they're gone, I would have knocked his teeth out if he'd have said that shit to me, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So what were you getting from the people around you, and how did it resonate or not with you that led you to stay for so long?
Okay. So I had a covert narcissist. Covert means no one else got to see it but me. And so, at home, he was one person, and then in public, he had a facade. And so everyone thought he was the greatest thing ever.
Everybody loved him. You are so lucky.
Everybody loved him. Oh, I got texts all the time, because he would go and help a friend with something. Oh my gosh, your husband is so great. Thanks for loaning him to us for the day, whatever. And at home, I couldn't get him to do anything, and he was only abusing me. And even our kids, they knew they weren't he wasn't abusing the kids, and he was just like a really demanding parent to them.
Some people would say strict.
Yeah, very strict, high demands, like you have to get straight A's, or you're a terrible person kind of thing. And that was really hard. So the kids are really unraveling their own journey as well, with that, because and two of them don't even have a relationship with him anymore. They don't even know who he is anymore without
How many
me,
kids
because
do
I
you
was
have?
I'm sorry.
How many children do you have?
We have three, and two of them don't speak to him. And
So
that's their decision, and they're grown, they're 30, 28, 25. So they've made their own decisions on what relationship they want to have
I
with
keep
him.
forgetting that you said 32 years, because you certainly don't. I'm looking at, how old were you, 8 when you had that first one?
Yeah,
Man, you look great, by the way.
Thank
Ring
you.
the bell
Well,
on that.
thank you.
You really
The
did.
bell. Oh, I got the bell.
Yes, you did. Because I mean, the when you if you were to add up, if there was a pool somewhere where they were pouring all of your stress over these 32 years from being under this spell of narcissism, it would probably be the size of a small lake.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Seriously,
So
yeah.
the fact that you're not wearing it outwardly
Thank
is
you.
pretty impressive. So let's go to this. When you were looking at the list of credentials that a narcissist carries, and you were like, okay, he does that, check.
Yeah.
When did what was did you? I have a feeling you may have hit some things where you're like, all that's happened. Oh wait, but those still are yet to come.
Right.
Did you see things that hadn't developed? Did that help form your decision to get out before?
I got out before I saw some of the bigger stuff.
Like
Because
what?
well, like him having his new supply waiting in the wings, how fast he was going to get remarried, all those kinds of things. I had suspected they can't be alone. And so I had suspected there was multiple women, but one in particular that was always there and bothering me. And I would say, like, you flirt too much. It's not okay. And we would have discussion. Oh, I'm so sorry. I won't do that anymore. But then he would, because if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. That's the end of the story. And if you let them do it, whatever that means to them, then they're just going to keep doing it. And I didn't know what I would see. It was after we got divorced, a few months later. I had about 3 months of blissful ignorance. I went full no contact, which I highly recommend to everyone who has to deal with a narcissist. If you can go full no contact, since I have grown children, I never have to speak to him ever again. And even my kids didn't tell me what was going on behind the scenes. But then I found out about the new girlfriend, well, quote unquote new. And then I started to unravel even more. So I knew, and I told them, I said, this is what's going to come next. They're getting engaged at this time and they're getting married at this time. And even my kids were like, no, Mom, you don't even know what you're talking about. And they did, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And they follow a playbook. It's incredible to me how like they're all reading from the same playbook. Okay, what's next? Let's do it.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not like they go and study how to be a narcissist, you know what I mean? And get certified or anything like that. And it makes my husband and I, the therapist, have talked about this extensively. And I asked him not long ago, look at me whispering, honey, is it okay if I say on the air what you said? Remember when I asked you about narcissists being like pedophiles? Well, I guess I just said it. Well, I mean, like the curability point.
Oh no, you can't.
And he says they can't be.
No, they can't. They don't want to. They're not interested. They're not interested.
What do you think it is? Was his dad one? Do they learn from someone? Is it in their DNA? What is and do you think he was aware of what he was doing? Cognizant? I mean,
yeah, these are good questions. So it's definitely a mother wound. Now, I'm not a professional, so ask your husband, but it's what I see is a mother wound, because I think when there's a father wound, they become something else. But with a mother wound, because it comes from emotional neglect. And now his mother was emotionally neglected from her mother. Of course, look, she was born in the 30s. These are things, right? Where who's doing all this emotional stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, she's the queen narcissist. I think of that. I'm so bad. You know, an Alien, when the giant alien comes out, that's what I think of as mother.
So you could see some of the
Yes.
footprints of where, well,
Yes,
you
I
come by
could.
it honestly.
Yes, and so the reason I think they are aware of what they're doing is because they are not abusing everybody. Because, like I said, I was the target. At home, they are one thing, and out in the community, they are another thing. So
Okay.
I feel like they know what they're doing. Maybe they can't control it. Maybe it's just that need that they have to do it. They just
What
have to.
about you? Because I'm picturing you two at home and
Yeah.
him doing his thing, and
Yeah.
you just like, oh Lord Jesus. But
Yeah.
then you're out and he's like arm around you, holding
Yes.
your hand. Sweetheart.
Yeah.
Go on, can I get you anything? And what are you doing? Are you a different person too? Because you have your role to play, or there'll be hell to pay.
Yes, exactly. And then also you're living off of those breadcrumbs because that's what they are. They're breadcrumbs. They give you a little bit of the good. And even at home, I would get a little bit of the good to help me continue. That's how they feed you little breadcrumbs. Here's a little bit of good. I got you a birthday present, or I was nice to you, or whatever. I made dinner, whatever it is. And then so I loved going out because he was so nice to me and nice to everybody when we were out. So I really enjoyed it. And I liked going out. But the thing about breadcrumbs is you'll starve to death on breadcrumbs. You can't live off of those.
One thing that is clear to me, Laura, and I've interviewed probably over the last 7 years, 10, 15, 20, and a couple of them actually men who were
Yeah.
under the spell of a female narcissist.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this, even when I remember the men, because I'm seeing them all back now, pretty much all of them, you don't fit the profile. You don't seem like June Cleaver. Staying in your spot and vacuuming in your mules, can I get you a drink? So meeting him at the door, taking his coat. So you're a pretty strong, independent woman, I would say, right? So when did you realize you were losing yourself?
God, so long ago. And I thought I thought it was lots of things. I thought it was postpartum depression. I thought it was because I was working full time. I thought lots of things. I thought I was just tired. And I just really thought my husband was just a jerk sometimes. I would say, I need help because we had 3 kids and then our youngest had special needs. So I'm like, I need help. And he would say, well, you just have to figure out your schedule a little bit better and then you can figure it out. Remember, you chose this life. This is what you wanted. And by this point, it's so incremental. It's the analogy that's always used is the frog in water that's being boiled, right? You put the frog in cold water to start the boil. They're going to jump out if you throw them in boiling water. And that is what living with a covert narcissist is like, because you don't feel it happening. All of a sudden it starts to happen, but you don't notice it. I wouldn't have stayed 32 years if I noticed it. And I really just thought we had some issues. And so we would go to therapy here and there and try and work out our issues. And it was always my fault. And I would try to be better because there was a deep need. I had to be loved and accepted and all that. So I've worked on all this stuff. And who you're seeing today is not who I've always been, because I've been working on this. Like, I don't put up with anybody's garbage anymore. And I can spot a red flag a mile away. And now I'm like, I'm good.
I just had a download. I saw you at dinner on a date, and the first syllable of a narcissistic statement started to come out of his mouth, and he dropped the napkin and came back up, and there was an empty chair. Here, I'll take.
He's so funny. Well, I posted a video the other day. Somebody had posted a reel, and it said, for 20 years, I ignored the 69 red flags I saw a week with my last partner, and now they blink wrong, and I'm out of there.
Exactly. So let's talk about this piece. Was there ever a time when fear for whatever reason, started to creep in. Because a lot of people, I used to assume back at the front of this career, before I got to talk to so many authorities on this subject, i.e. victims, that it always included domestic violence, which is not the case. A lot of them know exactly the limit.
Right.
Like where, and then there are those who do, but they know how not to leave a mark or this, that, and the other. Were you ever afraid of anything like that happening?
So it actually is considered domestic violence. It's actually psychological abuse. And so, so the things that don't look like domestic violence are using coercion, if I can say the word. So things like could never say no to sex, things like that. You know what I mean? Or there would be a problem, and not like he was going to hit me, but then maybe I'd get the silent treatment. He wouldn't talk to me for days.
There are repercussions.
There were repercussions. So that is actually considered domestic violence, because anytime there's anyone is coercing you to do anything, and they don't have to hit you. And that's the hard part about when I started to talk about my story, that people were like, are you sure that's what happened? Because they didn't know him any other way. And I'm like, you don't understand. He told me, like, the last couple of years, I'm so embarrassed to say this live, but anyway, he told me, he's like, just let me know when you want to have sex. I'm not going to have sex with you anymore. So that's abuse. Like, who talks to their partner of 30 years like that? That's abuse. And that's the thing you don't understand. It's those kinds of things that are incremental. Now, by then I was already like, I got to leave this, like I can't do this anymore. So when people ask me if I'm lonely in my bed, please, no, I was laying next to him. I was laying next to him lonely already. I was dying of loneliness.
Which is worse.
It's worse. He didn't even care. I was dying of loneliness, and he was off doing whatever he wanted. So you really have to think about, and that's what I did. Do I really want to live another 40 years like this?
Right.
And I didn't.
That's the hard part. 32 years, you know everything about each other.
Right,
much,
exactly.
So you think.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
like, do I really want to start over? What about dying alone? All these, I get it. And we're going to get into that too. But do you know why? Have you ever asked yourself why 32 ended up being the magic number as opposed to 30 or 35?
Yeah. So in 2020, my mom passed away, and what happens is they have a lack of empathy. That is a big red flag. There's like no empathy. And so if you ever are in a situation with someone you suspect is toxic or a narcissist, they will not have empathy for anyone passing away. It's kind of an inconvenience. Okay, it's 2020 and it's my mother. You know what I mean? Like, so she passed away. He didn't understand why I was still sad after a few months.
Now, COVID had already come then, right?
Not yet. We think she did die of COVID, but it was right before. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next year, our sister-in-law passed away, and she did die of COVID. And so it was very traumatizing. It was during the pandemic. So we had these two big things happening. Of course, we're all in a pandemic. Congratulations, everyone.
I was going to say, oh my God.
Congratulations, everybody. You were in a trauma. So if you don't think you have a trauma to talk about, we were all in a trauma together. And then I also decided to leave my speech therapy career and stay home. And all those things were just not working for him. In therapy, he would sit and say, oh yes, I support her. She can leave her job. But the biggest thing is that there is a lack of empathy. The way he did not care that my mother and our sister-in-law had passed away, and I was still sad. He didn't understand why I was still sad, because they don't have that empathy. And so that was the biggest eye opener for me, and why year 30 was like, oh boy, I need to get out of this, because it was like, you can't even be sad that my mother is gone, so that didn't make sense to me. And that's why it started to be around year 30.
Did you gather your children together to start the conversation of, look, y'all, ... I finally come to my senses and I'm leaving him? And if so, what was the response? I mean, because you feel like an obligation. A lot of people stay together for the sake of the kids. And they're, like you said, yours are grown and they were gone.
Yeah.
So what did they say? Did you hear this response? Well, finally.
Yes, I did.
It's about time.
Yes, I did.
Wow.
That's exactly what I heard. My kids told me they were proud of me. They really did. So, okay, so a narcissist will do the reverse discard. He really wanted out and sort of brought up divorce, but they need to be the victim in their story so that they can go out into the world and get, oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you're okay that you left this terrible marriage, because they're also talking about you behind the scenes, which is the smear campaign. So I could never, that's why I also couldn't ever win over his family, was because he was always talking crap about me behind the scenes. And so he kind of brought up, like, if this is the way our life is going to be, then you should tell me you're done. And I go, why do I have to say I'm done? And he goes, yeah, you're right. I'm not brave enough to say it. He actually said something more crass than that. And I said, you know what? I'm done. And so that is perfect for them, because now he can say, for them, I mean the narcissist, because now he can say, oh my gosh, she asked for the divorce. Oh, I tried everything. And he did tell the kids, I tried everything. Your mom gave up on the marriage. And I was like, okay,
So
whatever.
who left the house?
I left the house because I had to, because in Nevada, somebody has to buy you out of the house. And so I couldn't afford to do that. So I left the house, and then he stayed in it. He did not stay in it. He went and moved in with his girlfriend.
He did.
He did.
So the divorce proceedings, how long did that take?
It was only 6 weeks. He had somebody waiting for me, or for him. He had somebody waiting in the wings. So he just like, we, powered through in Nevada. It's pretty easy to get married and divorced. And it's 50-50. We didn't have any businesses or minor children. So everything was just split
So no
in
War
half.
of the Roses.
No, we just split everything in half. It's the law. We didn't have to negotiate anything. And
That was nice.
it was nice that way. And then I just thought, oh, I'm going to go heal. And I did. I spent 3 months healing. I went to the beach. I took care of myself, did lots of therapy. And then I found out that she's been there the whole time. And I felt like my healing had started over, because those skills, they weren't there yet. Like I had been healing and learning and all that. But, after 3 months, I felt like I started over, because they just weren't in place, like really strong, those coping skills.
Yes. Laura, your maiden name is what?
Gretter.
Gretter, and your married name was?
It's Richards. Yeah.
Richards. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that. I find it very interesting.
Okay.
That, your Facebook says Laura Gretter Richards.
Yeah.
And then even right here on the screen, you just have Laura. And then I've seen Laura Richards.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the separation, because it's almost like a second skin. That name that you've had, I lost the name when I found out I was illegally adopted, and you've been Larry for 11 years. Now you're really Loren. She died and the gig is up. So all of a sudden I had to start writing a new name and this and the other. And I was like, it's just like somebody saying, you're no longer right-handed, you're going to be left-handed.
Yeah.
Or you're no longer black, you're going to be Hispanic. What? Right. So talk about the identity. Finding, refinding, reinventing. How did it go for you? And it sounds like it's still going on.
Well, you and I talked about that, maybe going to Laura Gretter Richards. I did think about that. So that's something I'm considering after you and I have talked, kind of as my stage name. But, I've been Richards longer than I've been Gretter. And so I decided, I know it's crazy. And so I decided to keep it. And because I don't really identify him with it, it's really just my name.
And the kids and your children.
And my kids.
Richards.
And yes. And so, my daughter's married, so she changed her name. But, it didn't matter to me, even with the kids. I don't feel like that kind of, especially since they're grown, like I could easily change it back to Gretter if I wanted to, but I don't want to. And I just don't. I just like it,
Well, the reason I brought it up is because I've heard it come in both directions.
Yeah.
And I've heard women say, absolutely not.
Yes.
Because I did not want anything attached to him, attached to my eternity. And if it was going to be on my marker or my urn, I did not want him. I don't want any part of him coming with me to what's next. So I get it.
I really feel that. I really do. But it's been my name for so long. That was actually the first question they asked us in the divorce proceedings. Do you want to keep your name? And I looked at him and I said, do you care? And he goes, no, I don't care. He wasn't going to tell me that his new wife's name was going to be so similar, and because her name's very close to mine. And now I think it's funny. And so that's another reason to keep it.
Yeah, I had it first, bitch. Right. So so let's talk about your work.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Yes.
How'd you come up with the name, and what describe this podcast for us?
Sure. Well, I was doing some coaching with a friend, and we would kind of just catch up beforehand because we're friends, and before we started doing our coaching session. And I would always say, well, that's where I'm at. And then one day I just kind of stopped and I said, wait, is that something? Because, we all say it, right? Well, that's where I'm at, and it was just kind of a check-in, and it was perfect. And at this time, I felt like the universe and God and everything was kind of moving me towards talking about stories that that maybe society is telling us not to talk about.
Yeah.
I really found that in my journey to heal. A lot of people were telling me not to talk about it. And I was like,
Really?
but yes. And I was like, why? And a lot of people were just like, well, it's just something we don't, just forgive him and move on. And I was like, but then somebody else will get stuck in this abuse, but not everyone believes it's abuse. And so it was really hard to have that discussion. So I decided to, I talked to my friend who has a podcast company, and I said, what do you think about me doing a podcast? Because I had already been on social media making funny reels and stuff like that, and talking about narcissism and what it was and what I went through. And she's like, yeah, I think you could do it. And so we talk about lots of things on the show. My focus is narcissistic abuse recovery, but I talk to coaches and therapists and everybody to talk about how you can heal. And if it's not exactly your story, you're going to get something out of it anyway. So maybe you don't want to go to therapy, but maybe you'll want to listen to a podcast. And I have lots of tips and tricks for you. And I call out all their tactics, and I just help people in their journey of healing.
Ooh. May I nominate my husband to be on your show?
I'd love it. That would be great.
Oh, wonderful, Dr. Brian. Everybody out there, y'all know.
I would love it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to put you two in an email.
Okay. Sounds good.
Make it sound like it was your idea.
Okay. You're the worst, Loren. Jeez.
Well, it's good for him. It's
putting me on the spot here.
And
okay.
He loves it, but it's got to come to him,
Okay. Yeah.
He's still a little shy.
No.
I wanted to go into the book.
Yep.
You've written a book. There's Hope, 52 Keys. So obviously one for each week.
Yep.
To healing after divorce. Talk about that, please.
Well, I wanted to write a little something, to help you guys heal after divorce. And I wanted to give you, like, if you have no ideas, if you're like, I don't even know what to do today, you can open up the book and check it out. And there'll be something for you to try that week for your healing. It's very short. It's very simple. There's, space for journaling and things like that. And journaling was one of the things that really helped me. So I just wanted to give everybody something to work on when you don't even know what you can do next.
Right. That's beautiful. I love that.
Thank you.
How long have you literally been divorced? So how far along the healing path are you?
About 19 months, 18 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 19. Yeah. Not very long, about a year and a half.
Yeah. If this was the newlywed game, you'd still qualify because you had to be married 2 years or less. So divorce 2 years, you wouldn't even yeah, you could still get on. So how do you feel the healing is going? You know what I mean? Have you gotten used to, you had the whole house before? And sometimes people downsize and go to apartments or get roommates.
Yeah.
Everything changes. You walked away from your career of decades as a speech. Okay. So how different is your life today? And where's your level of joy today?
Oh my gosh, so much joy, so much peace. And that's the biggest thing. And I would live in a ditch rather than live in that marriage, and that's how I truly feel. And so, yes, I live in a really small condo. I love every second of it because I have peace and I'm very happy. And my cat's with me. There she is.
Yeah.
She's taking her morning nap. She already, because we got up early to be with you. So
I
we
just
are,
gotta say this. I remember when we first came on the Discovery Call, one of the first things I said to you was how I love the room
Thank
that you're
you.
in because it just feels so zen-like.
Oh yeah.
Every
It's so
single thing
peaceful.
you put there had decades of waiting room experience. It feels like all that peace was waiting in the foyer.
It's so true. Like the things I do now, even my son lives with me and he'll say like, "Oh, you do that now, mom?" I'm like, "Yeah, you never know what I'm going to do because Laura 2.0, who knows what she's going to do, you know?" Not to mention that I just turned 57 and as you get older, right, we change our life and we kind of figure out what we want to do with our life and I just have so much peace and I have a lot of freedom to try things. And that's why I love being a podcaster and an author and a speaker and
Yes.
being able to talk about this. I have such joy in doing it, not just to call out all the narcissists, but because I love helping women. And yes, women can be narcissists. My focus is helping women.
Yeah,
So
because that's the majority of
yeah,
who are
it
that.
is. Yeah.
So what about this? Are you in the same town?
Yes.
So, okay. So what about this piece? When you run into people from that life and they're
I
like,
haven't.
oh,
I haven't, thankfully.
you haven't?
I haven't, because I live on the other side of town, and so every once in a while, my friends will say, "Hey, do you want to go to a particular restaurant?" And I'll be like, "Okay." And so I kind of keep my wits about me in case they walk in the door. But I haven't seen anybody. It's great.
Wow.
I know. I'm really thankful. I really feel like, man, I don't know if God's protecting me because running into your ex takes on a whole new meaning when you're driving a car.
Yeah. Oh, oh, that's funny. I wish I had, because I had a clip from War of the Roses pulled up and she ran
Oh,
over his car with that big old truck with
yeah.
him in it. And I was like, that would have been a perfect segue. But I also thought not just him and her.
Yeah.
When people get divorced, oftentimes
Yeah.
their friends go to one side or the other.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, so how was that? How was the division? Did you were your eyes opened
Yes.
when that all went down? Who went where?
Yes.
Any surprises there?
Yes. I mean, I unfriended all of his that I knew were his friends. And because I didn't want to see, what he was going to be doing with his life, I really truly went full no contact, unfriended all of our mutual friends, blocked him on social media. And then that's the biggest surprise is when you are going through your healing journey, you're going to see friends start to fall away because your healing and your freedom and your peace sometimes rub people the wrong way.
Yeah, because they don't want they're looking for their own.
Yes. And so it's some people, they can't handle it. Some people maybe just don't come around as often. But yeah, that was a surprise to me.
What about family members? Because he's the narcissist, but oftentimes too, I hear from the people who had to leave the narcissist that one of the biggest regrets is I had a really great relationship with his sister or his aunt or his grandmother, and now because no contact at all.
Yeah.
Any of that?
Yeah, I did go no contact with the entire family. I did send almost like a thank you note to everybody saying thank you for being great in-laws. Some of that was eye roll. And I sent it and I told them, it's been great. But it was very clear we're not going to have contact. And I do actually think about one of his sisters. I truly liked her a lot, and his cousin, and they both tried to reach out to me and I just couldn't respond. I just told them I couldn't.
Excuse me. In decade 1, 2, or 3, which decade was it that you realized you were not in love with this man anymore?
Oh no, I was in love with him till the very last minute and probably after. Yes, because yes. Oh, of course, until even after. Yeah, I mean, and really you try to figure out, was it really love or was it manipulation? And so that's a lot of the unraveling I'm still doing, but they truly I don't think that he loved me. I don't even know if he knows how to love. I think he knows how to go through the motions, and I think that's what they do. They kind of play the game and it might look like love because they're doing things that look like love,
Yeah,
on the outside, love bombing,
Right.
jewelry, gifts, all
And
that.
at the end of the day, he is still the father of your children.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
It's still, and you have one child who has a relationship with him.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So you want to make sure that you don't poison that, because
Yes, of course.
he may be the reason this man changes one day.
Yes, exactly.
You
Yes.
see what
And
I'm
I
saying?
don't. And my son and I have a great relationship where I say that to him, we don't
Why
need
do
to
I
talk
feel
about
like
dad.
it's the one who lives with you?
It is. Yes.
And
It is.
is that the youngest, the tallest boy?
It's the youngest. Yeah.
Okay.
The tallest boy. Yes.
He's in your banner. And I'm gonna tell you why I knew that. And this is the truth. When I saw your banner on Facebook and you had the montage of the kids,
Yes. Yes.
he's kind of looking over.
Yeah.
There's something very special, not to
Yeah.
take from the other two that look
Yeah.
like you, right? Especially your
Yeah.
daughter, your mini me.
I know.
Here's my daughter.
I know. She
Right?
is.
Oh my God! Right? But there's something about that kid.
Yeah.
And is he on the spectrum?
No, but he was born deaf, and so he's my special one. And
He
so
just looks like he has a glow of anointing around
I'm
him.
telling you, he's so sweet. I don't know how he was so well adjusted. I have no idea.
So he is completely deaf.
Yes, but he wears cochlear implants to hear, so he lives a normal life.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a whole nother show.
I know,
Man,
and that's why I became a speech therapist, to help kids like him.
that is awesome. Listen, along the bottom of the screen is Laura's Instagram. And you already know one thing that's pinned there because you saw it today. If you were here at the top of the hour, head over there and check out all things Laura. And then also the podcast. Here's the podcast on Facebook. That's Where I'm At podcast.
Yep.
And I'll put that up there so you can see YouTube again at That's Where I Am At. I'm at.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
When you get one letter off.
I know. Yeah, they
Emma,
can find me everywhere on That's Where I'm At podcast. I'm everywhere.
That's Where I'm At. And how often does it air?
Every other Wednesday.
Every other Wednesday. Okay,
Yep.
so wherever you get your podcast, just ask Alexa to take you there.
That's right. She'll oh yeah. Oh, you should.
Everyone of them in the house will start talking.
You shouldn't have said her name.
I know. It's so funny. We spell it. Just like
I say Alex or the robot.
oh, because I remember the day ours started talking on its own.
Yes.
No prompting. But would you like to hear a joke? I was like, you want to end up in a garage sale? Say something without being spoken to first.
Exactly.
Keep that up. You won't be in here. Right. So
oh
look,
my gosh.
Hang out 1 second afterwards. I have something for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much for
and
having
we would
me
love
be
to
here.
get you back. I want to send you forward to some of the show hosts
Great.
on the network that I just know would just love to have you.
Great. I love it.
Everything about you is just so
You're so
effervescent.
God,
so
Loren,
proud.
thank you. You are so good for my self-esteem.
Oh, no, I'm telling you, you're really great at what you do. I believe it is a calling. And finally, you're going to be not to take away from the speech therapy.
Yep.
That's the thing you were paid for, but I believe you are now inside of what you were made for.
Thank you.
And there's a big difference there. So
Yeah.
listen, you guys, excuse me, I've been fighting it, but I can't. I got to take my inhaler.
Yeah.
High smog day, apparently, here in Chicago.
Oh, geez.
Here we go. Listen, you guys. Thank you, Laura, for all you've done today. And thank all of you for showing up every day, Monday through Friday, right here at 8 a.m. Central, shameless plug, for Bathrobe Moments. Listen, have the best weekend ever. I'll see you Monday morning, God willing, over on the front porch, where together we'll come in here and have yet another illuminated conversation. In the meantime, remember every day, call on everything that was created to assist you, your angels, the spirits, whatever you believe in, and maybe even a couple things you don't. Give it a try. What do you have to lose? Give them permission to help you find a little piece of your highest self. You will be shocked at what they bring. Take that with you. Have a divine everything. And remember, as I say always, as we get out of here, I love you, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Have the best day ever. I see you guys Monday. Thanks, Laura. Great job. Really, really great job.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me time. How explicit do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul, and honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you